Here's a little missive House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy tweeted out today that may have had you scratching your head if you did not have the full context. Okay, I'll read it. America is built on the idea that we are all created equal and success is earned through honest hard work. It isn't built on identity, race, or religion. The Republican Party is the party of Lincoln, the party of more opportunity for all Americans, not nativist dog whistles. Why on earth would Kevin McCarthy feel the need to declare the Republican Party is not built on race and rejects nativist dog whistles? Well, maybe because this morning Punchbowl News reported that a group of House Republicans, including Georgia's Marjorie Taylor Greene and Arizona's Paul Gosar, are forming an America First caucus to protect Anglo-Saxon political traditions. If that kind of thing sounds familiar, it's probably because that's what the former leader of the KKK, David Duke, has been saying to anyone that would listen.
I love my people, my heritage. I want to preserve my heritage like every people does.
Preserve your heritage? What does that mean?
How about European heritage?
What does that mean?
Look, I'll tell you what. You don't know what European heritage is? You don't know what Mozart is and Bach and Beethoven? You don't know?
They're people. They come from different countries.
It's actually good Bill O'Reilly there, weirdly. No, they are not white supremacists. No, they just want to protect European traditions from some non-European threat, I guess. This new Republican caucus's organizing document also contains language advocating for, quote, weeding out those who refuse to abandon their old loyalties and plunge headfirst into mainstream American society. They literally want to weed out people who do not conform to their idea of American culture. How concerned should we be of this new caucus? I'm joined now by Adam Serwer, staff writer at The Atlantic. His latest piece is titled Restoring the Soul of the Nation Means Taking in Refugees, and Jia-Lin Yang, national editor of the New York Times. Her book, which has gotten incredible reviews, One Mighty and Irresistible Tide, The Epic Struggle Over Immigration, 1925 to 1965. It will be out in paperback next month. And Jia, I want to start with you because your book, right, bookends in 25 to 1965. Next to 1965, there's a huge piece of immigration legislation, and that's like one of the targets of this caucus. They say an important distinction between post-1965 immigrants and previous waves of settlers is that previous cohorts were more educated, earned higher wages, did not have an expansive welfare state to fall back on when they could not make it in America, and thus did not stay in the country at the expense of the native born. That's what is that? As someone who studied this, like, what are they going on about there?
They weirdly really understand what they're going after, which is after 1965, that's when the law changed in the US to allow many, many more immigrants from outside of Europe at a level that the country had never seen before. And this Anglo-Saxon language that they're using is so important to pay attention to. It's not a dog whistle, it's completely explicit, because that language has been used to really change our immigration laws to explicitly ban people who are not from Europe. It's been used before, and it's an argument that keeps recurring, because if you can control where people come from, where they immigrate from, you can control the racial makeup of America. And so I think what they're alarmed by is what's happened since 65 when we changed our laws and said, you don't have to come from Europe to be able to come here. You can come from Asia, Africa, the Middle East. And since that change, we've seen all around us how many more immigrants from around the world are here. And it really has changed the country. But I think for this group, it's made them incredibly anxious. They have, I think, correctly assessed that the 65 law was the moment everything changed. And they're invoking very old arguments that have been around for over a century to say that Anglo-Saxon political identity is what makes America America. And anyone who is not isn't properly American. They've used this argument against Jews, Catholics, anyone who is not white, Protestant, and quote unquote Anglo-Saxon. People have argued for many years don't belong in America based on their race and their religion.
Yeah, when we use the term, Adam, white nationalism, which has been used a lot, I think, right, understandably recently, like this is really at the core of it was this idea articulated by this guy, Nick Fuentes, who has a group called America First that Paul Gosar went to his conference at, right? If America ceases to retain the English cultural framework, the influence of European civilization, if it loses its white demographic core, it loses faith in Jesus Christ, it is not America anymore. Like, that is what white nationalism sounds like. That is what it is. And that appears to be what's represented here.
Yeah, I mean, Fuentes, a nice traditional Anglo-Saxon name. Look, Anglo-Saxon doesn't actually refer to the actual Germanic people who inhabited Britain in the Middle Ages. Rather, it refers to this pseudo-scientific idea that Americans are descended from ancient Germanic chieftains, and that's what makes American society so great. It's an ideological belief in the superiority of a certain group of white people that has been used to justify the genocide of Native Americans. It's been used to justify slavery, manifest destiny, and the like. And eventually, in the 20th century, it evolves into eugenics, and it becomes the basis of immigration laws that, as was just stated, targeted not just Africans and Asians and barred them from immigrating to the country, but also Jews and Italians, people who were, who today, are generally considered white, but who at the time were considered inferior white races who would dilute the pure Germanic blood that made America great. So when people say Anglo-Saxon, it is not a dog whistle. It is a foghorn. It is a nod to one of the most dangerous and destructive pseudoscientific beliefs in the history of the world, and one that has led to mass murder all over the planet. It's really disgusting. And that's why McCarthy, someone who is hardly friendly to immigrants, is saying, I don't want to have anything to do with this.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. You should know that you can follow today's top stories and breaking news and catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.